Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Call, and I am here with my brother, Brent Call. What's first on the agenda today?
So I want to jump straight into the mailbag. I've got a couple of questions for you. One by a gentleman of the name of Hood Henderson.
Hood Henderson.
Hood Henderson.
That's a good name.
That is a good name. The subject is about your bone broth. We've actually got a couple people have sent in some questions. They want to know a little bit more. He says, I noticed you used your moose bones for broth. Could you share how you preserved the bones and used it later? Did you just cut it and freeze it like steaks, or was it an extra step or two involved? Maybe some seasonings? Thank you, sirs.
Okay. Bone broth is awesome. We make it, I have it every day, pretty much.
He does. He brings it in frozen and then lets it thaw, and then maybe he'll drink it.
So the way that I like to do it is this. Primarily what I've been using is moose or elk bones. That's what I've been able to keep this year.
Because that's what you've been able to keep, or they just make good bone broth?
They make good broth, but these are wild deer, wild moose, elk, whatever that are running in the hills. It's all organic, right? You know the bone marrow is good. What I do is when I clean the animal, if I'm not doing a bone-in cut, for cooking later, I will take the bone and put it in a vacuum sealed bag, and I'll vacuum seal it and chuck it in the freezer. So I got a pile of vacuum sealed bones in the freezer. Then I'll pull a bone out, like a moose leg bone, and I'll pull out my chop saw. My miter saw.
Is that why your miter saw looks so creepy?
Yeah, I've just been using.
It's just covered in bone chunks.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out. I was like, did he put a bunch of glue on something and then go at it?
No, it's bone. So you take the chop saw, and the only reason I do this is just to get to the marrow easily, and I just cut it in 3-inch chunks, maybe, or 2-inch chunks. Like chop. Yeah. It's like, zzz, and I chop it all up, okay? And then I take the bones and I put them on a cookie sheet, and then I sprinkle some herbs and spices and stuff on them, and garlic and some olive oil, and drizzle it, and I put it in the oven, I think at 350 or 450, I can't remember.
Do you have any spices you prefer? I'm assuming garlic.
I just do it the way I like it.
Okay.
Everybody has,
taste.
Yeah. And then you bake it for, I don't remember how long. What it does, though, what I've read is that it adds flavor to the broth by doing that. And I like it. I've actually done it both ways, and it tastes better when I do the herbs and the baking and the olive oil and stuff. Anyway, then I take that and I throw it in. I used to use a crock pot, but I've been using an Instapot mostly.
Those Instapots.
Because it's just so convenient. I've heard a few people say that that I'm losing some of the value of the bone broth. A few people have written in by using an Instapot that I need to slow cook it on because the temperature doesn't get as high in a crock pot, and it just simmers and leaches out the nutrients, right? I don't know from what I've read, though, it's like, I think the loss in nutrition is negligible. From what I've read, there's still a lot of value in it. I guess the concern is some of the, what is it called? Like
not the cartilage or the marrow?
The cartilage, the gelatin in it. Sometimes it gets too hot. Collagen. Yeah, that's it. The collagen gets damaged, and then you don't reap the benefits of it. But I don't know. I've read completely mixed opinions on that. But I will say this. It's way easier in the Instapot. It just takes 4 or 5 hours to do. When we boil it in the crock pots, it can take 3 or 4 days. And I haven't noticed a difference in the value of the bone stock. It's not like one seemed to they both make me feel good. But I didn't notice one being greatly superior over the other. Anyway, so that's a long tangent. But you throw it in the crock pot, and then you throw your like celery, carrots, onions, a couple, like a bay leaf or two, and
almost like you're making a soup.
Yeah, and then you throw in an assortment of seasonings again, garlic, cloves, and then you just set the Instapot to boil for like 6 hours or something. And vinegar. You add vinegar.
I was gonna say, Daisy and I, we'll get chicken feet, and we'll boil the chicken feet. One of the things that I do is I put it about a little over half a cup inside the crock pot, and then a cup of water.
Yeah.
And that's what cooks for the first several hours, and then I just add a bunch of water to it.
Yeah, and I think it's I don't know if it's apple cider vinegar or whatever.
I use white wine vinegar. That's what my mother-in-law tells me.
Yeah,
and she's some Italian grandmaster European chef lady.
Yeah, I can't remember. I posted the recipe on Instagram, but you can just go out online and Google bone broth. I mean, there's a billion of them. They kind of all are very similar. They're all kind of the same.
So you haven't noticed any difference between the crock pot at all and the Instapot?
No, I haven't. So what I do is,
what do you do after?
The vinegar helps. The acid in that vinegar kind of breaks down the bone and the marrow in it. Anyway,
leach out some nutrients. But what do you do afterwards? Like, how do you put it in Ziploc bags?
Okay, so afterward, I strain it. We dump it out into a big giant bowl or whatever, and you strain all the chunks because some of it didn't dissolve. A lot of the carrot and the celery and all that like breaks down into nothing, oblivion, and you just have what's left. Anyway, we strain it, and then we take that liquid and we dump it into an ice tray. We've done that in the past, but what I really like right now is
I like what you've been doing lately. I like that.
Yeah, right now we use quart jars, or not quart jars, but 1 cup jars, the little jam jars, like strawberry jam and stuff, preserving jars with a little metal ring lid and stuff. Basically, we just dump it in there about half full, like 1 cup or 2 cups for a serving. Screw the lid on, stick it in the freezer, and you got like we put like 20 of them in the freezer from a batch. And then each day I just pull it out.
Yeah, that's the way. That's what I gotta do, because what I'll do is Daisy and I will make ramen, and we'll use instead of like making some kind of ramen sauce or whatever.
Yeah,
we'll just use the chicken feet as a broth.
Right.
But I like drinking it. Daisy doesn't, but I do. And like taking it out of the ice tray, trying to warm it up and stuff like that. It's a pain in the butt. I really like the jar thing. I'm gonna start doing that.
We put it in the ice tray, froze it, and then we popped them out of the ice tray and put them into vacuum sealed bags and vacuum sealed it. But I really do like just the jars.
I like it's like Go-Gurt. You just grab the thing, put it in your pocket, and go.
Well, what happens later is, I'll bring it to the office, and then I just unscrew the metal lid, pop it in the microwave, warm it up, and then just sip the broth. And then I just take the empty jar home. And we just keep reusing the jars. So it works really well.
It's delicious.
And it is. It's really good.
And I think it's a sad thing that a lot of times people leave the bones behind.
Yep.
I mean, if I'm way in, I can get that, but I'd like to take them out when I can.
Yeah, for sure. So
I got another question for you.
Okay, when this is, folks, we're going to bring you Ryan Carter, another part of our conversation with Ryan Carter, which if you don't know who Ryan Carter is, or you missed the earlier podcast, go check it out. Look for Ryan Carter. Really enjoy everything he does.
Yeah, I think by now most people know who Ryan is. Big, beautiful, bearded gentleman.
Yes. So what's the next one? We're going to get to his podcast in a minute, but you got one more thing?
Yeah, this is from Brick Owen. This is another one sent from Mom. I'm not sure where she sent it from, but it says, okay. How do you accidentally hit someone in the head with a machete? / how do you allow yourself to get hit in the head with a machete?
Yeah, it's rough. I don't know. Who would do that? Look, I hit my cousin Ben in the head with a machete.
I don't know if that's something you should be admitting on a recording.
Ben has been. I also hit him in the head with a master lock, the giant piece of metal. Remember that cracked the head open.
Why is he still hanging out with you?
He stepped on a rake, like in the cartoons, and that rake flipped up and smashed his face and split his eyebrow wide open. Had to get stitches there. So, but yeah, he fell in that River, and by the way, I'm a hero officially by the Boy Scouts of America.
We've heard it all by now.
Because I rescued.
I don't know.
Ben
it doesn't. Boy Scouts of America doesn't mean the same thing as it is.
True, but we were chopping down blackberry bushes because Mom and Dad and aunt and uncles, they paid us like, I don't know, $1. $1 to butcher like a mile long
and here's the
driveway
thing, people,
of
if you're
blackberries.
not from Oregon, you're not going to understand. When we say blackberry, you don't get it. They're dinosaur plants.
Yeah.
These are plants that grew up and dinosaurs were scared of them. They are literally like the size of my wrist at the base. In some places,
with
like
thorns.
you can find some that are just
we were chopping that around, and I'm innocent. I was just chopping the bushes. Ben came walking over from the other side of the road. He had his side. I had mine. Mm-hmm. He came over without declaring his approach.
And in my circle.
And in my backswing, after slicing some bushes, I hit him right in the eyebrow, right in the forehead. Yeah, I cut him open good. It was it was like blood everywhere and stuff. It was a little rough, man.
That was a pretty good Ben impression right there.
Yeah, it was, huh?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was.
So, cousin Ben, he was the younger cousin. I think I got him by a year, 2 years, year and a half, year. So, I've always been older and wiser.
Is that what that was?
And better.
So wise, you chopped his face off?
And, better looking, better hunter. It's just, he's always been second.
What I find funny is that Ben looks like a white 50 Cent. And you look like a white iced tea. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's a cosmic joke that's been played.
All right. Let's get you into this podcast with Ryan Carter. Enjoy the show. Let's talk about that, becoming a guide.
Utah's a little tough for that.
Yep. It's kind of like Arizona.
The lucky thing for me, the question I got was, how do you get started guiding? Well, I started guiding when Utah was unregulated. Anyone could be a guide. The guy that first hired me, I didn't even like the guy, but he knew I killed a couple bulls. He says, "Hey, I got these guys that want to go hunt the Nebo." Yeah, I can take them. Killed a couple good bulls. Did it again the next year. The next year, I filmed some big bulls in southern Utah. Had another guy hire me. Then Christensen Arms hired me. And then for 1 year, Utah, no, we're done. No more. You have to have a guide license. Not only that, you have to work with an outfitter. So I thought, well, there went my run. Killed a lot of bulls. I'm good. But as I started looking into it, I was like, you know what? I have enough hours. I know the right people. Mm-hmm. I have a business degree. In fact, they issued me my outfitter's license really fast, faster than most. And one, I scored really high on the testing. Two, I have a business degree in marketing. They just knew I would handle business well. I wouldn't be whereas a lot of guys just hand in their hours and I know how to kill elk. They take the test and pass it and do their heart exam and whatever. I think when they have someone from a better educated field, that went quicker for me.
Right.
Than most.
Yeah.
So, if you're talking to a guy that just wanted to get in, I'd say, one, go to school. School's important. I don't care if, one of the richest guys I know made all his money in sales, billions in sales. His degree's in culinary arts. He was a baker. That's what his degree is in. But he's a millionaire, multiple times over.
Yeah, but Casey and Jordan have no degree, and they're...
No, there's always those ways. People. You can be driven in multiple ways, but for most of the guys wanting to get into the industry or get into guiding, start with a marketing or business degree. Figure some way to make yourself valuable to another company.
At least with a college degree, you've kind of shown that you can show up on time, that you can study and work hard, and you can find a way.
Start with some internships, whether it's marketing or whether it's guiding. Call up an outfitter, say, "Hey, I'll spot for you. I'll carry meat." Yeah, I'm trying to get my foot in the door. Show up.
That's it. That's
all people want to see.
Important parts. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what job it is. People want you to show up.
I talked to Cole Kramer, and he talked about this, and he's like, I just started packing for a guy.
And Cole's, as far as bears and Northwest Territories, I mean, what bigger names out there right now?
Yeah.
Maybe Dustin and his role's changed. You know, I mean,
he's up there, you know.
But that's what he did. He just called somebody like, hey, I want to chase bears. I want to help. I got good legs.
Yeah. Then he got mentored by people who knew what they were doing, and he learned a lot, and he worked hard.
Well, yeah, if you work hard in anything, you don't have to be the smartest. I'm telling you, like I tell my
You're
daughters,
a prime example, aren't you?
I tell my daughters every day, like everything goes to the hardest worker in the room. If you show up to wherever you're doing and you're the hardest working person in the room, you are going to be successful in whatever you do in life. Yeah. I don't care what it is. You just focus on being the hardest working person in the room.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes.
So have you noticed a lot of competition between guides? Because that was a question that came up too.
Yeah. One of the questions was like, do you notice a lot of competition between guide services? I do. More in mule deer fields than I do elk. Elk is, it's just more vast. It's bigger. And I always have competition. There's always competition. But what I do is a lot different than what a lot of guys do. Like most guide companies trying to get guys in and out.
Right.
They don't scout like I do. They just, okay, we got 6 hunters. I need 6 guides and 4 spotters. Mm-hmm. And the hunters show up and the guides show up and we're going to go this way. Mm-hmm. And they just go to get the job done. A lot of 340 and 360 class bulls die, and sometimes they're big, sometimes they're not. And they're there to make money and have a good business, and they do okay. I don't look at it that way, and I don't charge that way. Yeah. I charge a lot more money because what I do requires 50-something days in the field, and I think I was $8,000 in cameras this year, and I was $17,000 last year. Like what I do is a lot different than what these guys do. And so as far as competition goes, the only guys I rub shoulders with down there, I'm good friends with. Like, and we'll tell each other like, hey, freaking good luck.
Yeah.
And we'll split parts on the trail.
It's game on.
Yeah. And that's what it is.
Best man, let the best man win.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
There's no sense in being mad and hating each other. And, but there is a lot of that in the industry as far as guiding goes, especially, man, you go to the Paunsaugunt and it is cutthroat.
Yeah, yeah.
There's 6 outfitters chasing one deer and everyone wants to kill each other. I don't see that as much. What I do and where I do it is a lot different.
Right. What future hunt do you look forward to the most in 2019? What's your goal 2019?
19 for me is like up in the air for a lot of things. I'm making a lot of big personal moves this year. Some people ask like, how do you get in the industry? I'm not in the industry. I have a couple other businesses I do. I'm going to be changing those. And so I'm making some personal changes outside of hunting that's going to change maybe what I do with hunting. And at the same time, I am like, we're taking on some pretty big hunts this year. We're going to buy a few statewide tags and we're going to chase some pretty big bulls, and I'm excited for the change. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not just doing Utah this year. I'm going to be hunting in a couple different states, and it might be fun.
Yeah.
Might not. I don't know. It might suck. But I'm fairly confident in my ability to chase some pattern bulls that I think I can do it outside of this, and we'll just see how it goes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like a challenge. We're good.
What's your favorite new gear?
My Garmin.
Sacrilege.
I don't have new gear.
Mine was that Valkyrie Arrow.
Oh, yeah?
I love that thing, dude.
Yeah?
I don't care if it costs mountains. Like, I would never have bought it in the past, but after having hunted with it, I would save up the money and buy it.
Everything changes for me year after year. Like, I could make a list of all the stuff I really like. You know, I could make a list of the 5 products I love at Mountain Ops. And, you know, my most important scouting tool next to my cameras is probably my canvas cutter this year because it's so easy.
Yeah.
Like I can be on any side of the mountain, any unit, just throw out camp and go to bed.
Yeah. And it's
like, it's invaluable.
You sleep
to me.
like in your home bed.
It's
almost.
Unreal.
Yeah.
The problem is when I post these things, people are like, "Oh, he's on
You're paid.
What
You're
is
paid
this?
to say it. Why would you ever say that? It's so gay."
And I'm not.
I know.
I'm not. like that. So I don't post a lot of stuff like that because and it all depends. The DS 4K stealth cams, while I do get some kind of outfitter discount with them, and I do enough promotion for them, they take care of me in certain ways. I bought 63 of those this year because they're amazing.
Yeah.
And they're fun. And that was on my dime. It wasn't full price. Still my dime.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wrote off 17,000 in cameras last year and 8 this year.
Yeah.
Like I spent a lot of money on them. And people are just like, oh, they stealth cams giving them cameras. They like, no, dude. So
same here. When I posted about the Garmin, I must have been accused by, I'd say, 1/3 of the commenters on being bought and paid for by Garmin. Garmin doesn't pay me anything.
Nope.
Valkyrie doesn't pay me anything.
Nope.
You know who pays me? Sika, Leupold, Yeti, and Mountain Ops.
That's some good, pretty good.
And those 4 companies have been partners for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great partners. When I talk about a Taito knife, or I talk about a Valkyrie, or I talk about a Garmin, I'm not paid, dude. In fact, I expend political capital.
Yeah.
When I talk about a lot of any products.
Yeah, and so I don't like game-changing products. I mean, I don't know what my favorite stuff was. You know, got a new Fanatic suit this year I loved. Whitetail season.
Oh, dude.
My new lacrosse boots.
Those 1,600 gram lacrosse boots are, somebody did comment the other day, they're like, nothing about what you took this year for your elk hunt is common. You're walking down the trail with $6,000 in gear or something like that. This is on a YouTube comment. And it's like, it's not 6,000, but there's a lot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You take my bow, my release, my arrows, my Garmin InReach, my Kifaru pack, my Kifaru tent, my Kifaru sleeping bag.
Your Sitka, wear
my
system.
Sitka gear, my crispy boots. You start adding it up and
$3 or $4 grand.
There's some money in that.
Yeah.
I also own a really modest home. In fact, right now I don't own a home yet. We're buying one, but I have 2 cars that are pretty much paid for. I have no debt. Like it's like people look at that and they judge you, you know, and keep in mind I'm 44.
Yeah. That's the other thing I was going to point out.
It's like this isn't like I just left my parents' house last week and I'm 18 and I'm rolling around in this. Like I've spent a lifetime. I spent 12 years with a college degree doing a white collar job, earning and saving money and investing.
Yeah.
Like, so I can buy this stuff. And I'm not telling a guy that's watching a YouTube video on the gear I took, you need to own all the same stuff to kill something. I'm telling you, this is what I used and what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. Take it for what it is. You know, use that information or don't use that information. I'm just trying to help, you know. In the midst of all of that, it's like I thoroughly enjoyed those Valkyrie designed arrows and their Black Eagle X Impact micro diameter. But man, that Valkyrie broadhead on there, titanium, the front of center, and then the lighted nocks. It's just everything I shot. It just blows through like coast to coast, pull full pass throughs, blood everywhere, animals dead in seconds. And you can achieve that with a lot of systems, but it just. Having used mechanicals or a different setup in the past, I just love it, dude.
Everyone's got a different kind of spice, man.
They do.
And it's just like...
I will not use them at TAC. Period.
Oh, yeah. Everyone keeps saying, like, what's your bow this year? And I tell them, but I'm like, dude, go shoot this one, too. Like,
what is your bow?
The RX3.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. Well, for me, so, I mean, if I broke down bows, right? Like, I love the Valleys and the Prime. I love that Valley.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help my shot.
Yeah.
The bow shoots fine. Like, certain things. Like, I have to tweak everything, right?
Yeah.
The Matthews I shoot with perfect form. Like, perfect form. I love that bow. Just the feel in my hand.
Yeah.
But I don't shoot as well. The Hoyt, I'm dialed, man.
Yeah.
And while I don't like the Valley, I get back there and I have to keep tension on it, like, really hard because you don't just sink in there and lose everything. I mean, there's things I like and there's things I don't like, but all that set aside, I know what I shoot best. I shoot the Hoyt best. Always. So, yeah, I just switch over. And I don't buy a new bow every year, but I buy one every other year, every third year.
Yeah.
Because they don't change that much. You don't need to buy new gear every single year. However, like, I mean, it's fun to try switching things up. Yeah. I've shot Spot Hogs for years. This year I bought a Garmin. And I bought the Garmin.
Right.
And I don't care what people say. I bought the $1,100 thing and I freaking love it. I love it. It's fun. And so I try to tell people I love it, and some people are cool with that. Like, good for you. Some people are angry.
Yeah.
You know, but I take it for what it is. I don't like your long range shooting, but to each their own. Go at it.
Right.
Kill some stuff.
Yeah. Well, that Carbon Defiant is one of my favorite bows of all time.
That's my last bow.
I shoot it so well. I love it. But the RX-1 is, I had trouble with it at first. I just couldn't get it to tune for me very well. And for me, I just needed to get this, I needed less let off. When I switched the module, dude, I drill with it. I'm shooting perfect. So every new bow you get, and it was the same with the Carbon Defiant. It was the same with like Jordan's running some Matthews and a Hoyt, and it doesn't matter. Every new bow has its,
you have to adjust it to fit you.
Yep. And it's rough. Like in my position, generally I get a new bow each year just because of my partnership with Hoyt. And when I run that Hoyt, it's like I'm the guy that wants to shoot the same bow for 5 or 6 years. You get it dialed. It's like your best friend, and but I've had to learn. It's forced me to learn more about bows because every year I learn more and more every time I try to set up a new one, and I start to see the differences and how they're designed, and it's been actually a really fun journey. But I'm excited to try the RX-3.
Yeah. Well, I haven't shot mine yet. It's getting tweaked right now.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not the guy who does my own tuning. Like, I don't even send it to my house. I send it to so-and-so's house. I'm like, dude, I need new strings. Yeah. You know what I shoot. You know what I tweaked it to. And he gets it set up, and then we go paper tune it, make some more adjustments, and shoot it again. And because I believe in letting masters of their own craft do their job.
Yeah.
I believe in hiring an elk guide that knows what he's doing. I believe in hiring a if that's
plumber. What you value.
You're right.
Like there's a lot of guys who love to play with their bow.
And
they dig it. And I think it's funny because that's Aaron Snyder. He likes to tweak and master his bow. That's John Dudley. Knock on.
Dude, if you're...
It is not me.
Well,
I'm not interested. I want to know enough, and I know enough about how a bow works.
Well, if I was in the field and had to take the pressure off, switch my strings I can do it.
Yeah. But I do not. I am not like the guy that's been doing it for 20 years. You know, it's just not. And I agree. Paying a professional, it's like an accountant and a lawyer. You know how many people, like as I grew up, I would say I grew up in a very modest income family. I would say dirt poor. And so in that regard, my dad did everything himself. He didn't pay anybody ever. And I grew up in a household like that. And he's a jack of all trades, master of none. That's
my dad too.
I
was just going to say this.
He's amazing. Having watched that, I'm pretty handy in a lot of ways, but I have learned the value of hiring a lawyer, hiring an accountant, hiring someone who can do technical things that I can't do or has a skill set that's hiring a guy to work on my bow or hiring a guy to build my arrows.
It's important.
Those guys are talented. And
it's important to put yourself in a position that you can afford that kind of luxury.
And you can't always, like I was going to say, I ran a Walmart tent that I bought for $19.99 with my cousin Ben, and we ate peanut butter and jelly with Wonder Bread. 9 days of elk hunting. Dude, I went through those years.
I was chili and rolls.
Yeah.
And I didn't get the Walmart tent. We got like these $15 like hammocks. I think I did it for 12 years. Hammocks and chili and rolls.
You don't need any of this to be successful, but it is nice to have it. It's gear. I don't know. We're all junkies like that. It's like same with my camera gear. Camera gear breaks the bank.
I put my dad in a pair of Sitka pants. Like, I'm like, if I ever see you wear jeans again, I'm going to kill you. I wore jeans forever. You look at all my shed pictures, I'm in freaking jeans.
Yeah.
However, once you realize, like, they make those to stretch at the waist. I don't even wear them. I was plowing snow this morning.
Yeah, I see what you're wearing today.
Yeah, I'm in my what are they called? The Dakotas?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they're fleece lined. They unzip this. They're breathable. They're so nice.
They last forever, too.
Forever.
But
these are, I don't know, they're last year.
Yeah.
I was thinking they're 2 years, but I think I got them last year.
I got the Sitka, they're like the cargo pants, kind of like jeans.
Uh-huh.
I love those things,
Dude, they stretch at the way. They're so comfy.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how many more miles you can do when you can actually stretch your legs right until you actually compare.
Yeah.
It's craziness.
Well, it goes down to what you value. Mm-hmm. I've been looking at, so I have a Dodge Ram pickup, 2,500. It's pretty much paid for. Really have had no debt, but a little bit on that. And then we paid for my wife. My wife has a Jeep Rubicon.
Yeah.
And I love that Jeep. We pretty much paid cash for it and which again, it's because I'm 44 and I invested and saved my money.
Yeah.
Right. Most people would finance that. But I love that Jeep. But I want my own. And I thought if I bought my wife the Jeep, I'd get to drive it. I never get to drive it. Yeah. And if I took it off road, I would be in trouble. Like, who has a Jeep that doesn't take it off road?
Yeah.
So I'm like dreaming of, I want a Jeep. I want my own Jeep, one that I don't have to share with my wife. I've been wanting a Jeep. Like I had a Jeep for years and got rid of it as I had kids and it wasn't practical. But now I'm like, it's time. I want the Jeep life, dude. The Jeep is totally impractical.
Yeah.
But enjoyable for me, right? And it's a luxury.
I gotta have the truck and the side by side.
I would, not me. I still want the truck.
Yeah.
But I don't want the side by side. And but I look at that and it's like everybody has their thing. I would rather own a Jeep and pay for it in cash and own it outright and live in a smaller house than, get a big fancy house and either finance a Jeep or not be able to buy one at all.
Yeah.
I would rather own a small home and go to New Zealand, because I'm looking at homes here in this area. And, some of the homes in Fruit Heights area are like 800,000, million.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at these price tags and it's like, well, and there's a certain amount I can afford, right? With my income and my savings. It's like, do I want to take this savings? Do I want to put it there? And do I want to buy a house? And as I look at it, I find that you're talking to a guy who lived in a treehouse for like 9 years with his family, 10 years that I built myself.
Yeah.
I don't get excited about things like a fancy house on the mountain. But I do get excited about a trip to British Columbia hunting moose.
Yeah.
And it goes back to everybody likes their own spice. Like you're saying, when it comes to how I spend my money and the things that I value in life, it's different than someone else.
Yeah.
And I don't judge someone else when they roll up in a side by side with a giant pickup like you. You have a gorgeous truck, and
it's company paid. That's why I can afford the side.
Right. It all comes down to, for everyone, we have a limited amount of resources.
Yeah. What are your priorities? What are your values?
Yeah. And then, do you. Mm-hmm. Whatever you do, don't try to keep up with the Joneses because that leads to nowhere happy.
That's why I afforded 3 whitetail hunts this year. Like, I gave up a moose hunt, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Paid a lot. Enjoyed it.
And you have the income to do it because, like you said, you're the hardest worker in the room when it comes to, you're up there.
I used to be. You're kind of old, dude.
But you own a company that you run.
That's important to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've invested a lot of years, and that's what things come from. That's why you have nice gear in your videos. You've prioritized your life to afford those kind of things, and there's always going to be that guy that's like, I get a lot of stuff. Always the newest Sitka gear. I paid for it. I did.
Yeah.
You know, if I had to show you what I'm kind of a little bitter at how much I paid for Sitka, because I have spent a fortune with that company.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when is this going to turn around? Like, I promote the crap out of you guys. However, I enjoy their product.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, nothing's better.
Yeah.
I've tried it all because I'm not on payroll. I've tried it all. And nothing's better. Like, it doesn't even make sense to me why some people wear what they do. But to each their own.
Right.
You know, maybe they do things different than me.
I know guys that will buy a $5,000, $10,000 rifle setup and go out in jeans.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just it's that value system.
Uh-huh.
It's different than mine. I'd rather use an old bow and go hunt elk in, Montana than buy a new bow and stay close to home. And
when you're in Montana and you're doing 13 miles a day, jeans don't cut it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. There's guys who's publicly tried to make a point of how unimportant camo is. And maybe camo pattern isn't important, but functional clothes,
technical gear
is huge. It's huge. I have never hunted in Danners. Well, maybe once. I'm telling you, I had to have a shank. I've been in mountain boots since I could walk.
Yeah.
Mountain boots are the most important part to me. They have got to have certain elements or I won't hike in them.
Yeah.
And it's priority.
Well, what's funny too is when it comes back down to that technology debate, it's like, I remember wearing some boots that leaked like every time I went
Like when
out.
you're 15. You got your Walmart boots.
When I was 30, they leaked. And I can remember wearing clothing that I even would bring 2 sets. Mm-hmm. So I could hunt half the day. Once those got thoroughly soaked, I could switch into the next half and go hunt the second half of the day. And then there were days where I just didn't hunt because I was still trying to dry out my gear I'd freeze to death out there with it on. It's funny because, again, that's technology again. It's allowing me to, what's First Light's slogan? Like, stay longer, go farther, stay longer, something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what this gear allows you to do. If you don't think that gives you an advantage over the game we pursue, you're delusional.
I tell people all the time, there's no such thing as cold weather, just gear. And I mean it. I mean it. Like, if you have the drive, like, I remember I bought a Gore 10x saddlecloth suit. Do you remember that stuff?
Yeah.
I went to Colorado that year, 2003. No, it was earlier than that. That was 99 or 98.
Stuff sucked. It didn't breathe at all.
Oh, it didn't breathe at all, but dude, I never got wet.
Yeah, true.
I remember paying $360 for it. That was a month's rent for me and my wife, and she's so pissed about it. And I won't get rid of that suit. I freaking love it. Like, I'll even wear it in tree stand sometimes. Like, but I won't hike in it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just technology that's out of date, but that changed my game and my outlook on what I needed and what I didn't, what was important.
Right.
Same with boots. Like switching up to my first pair of Mendels.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking, I'm never going back. I've got almost 400 miles on these boots, and they're still going.
Yeah,
It was unheard of back in the day.
When you're running like a Kafaru Sawtooth with a stove in it, it's like, man, I hate to spend that much money on a piece of vinyl and some string and a little tin can fireplace. But,
when you realize how light it is, how portable it is.
When you're over $1,000 into that, you're just like, really? But then you use it and it's
that stove. Holy
it's
crap.
heavenly.
It's so nice.
And it depends. Like, are you the guy that really cherishes being out there with the stove in the dead of winter, someplace deep? If you're that guy, that expense isn't.
It's not an expense.
It's not an expense.
Yeah.
It's just part of you loving what you do. You save up for it and you pay cash for it.
Yeah. Your car isn't an expense. You have to get to work and back. It's not an expense. It's a necessity. If what you love is the backcountry, nothing beats that Kafaru. It's not an expense.
Yeah.
It's a necessity for what you do, what you love. It prioritize everything.
But I'll tell you, Ryan, the Jeep I'm about to buy is an absolute
expense.
but I paid the other cars off, and needs are met everywhere, and it's a total luxury thing that I want.
Yeah,
and I can do it, and it's sort of but if someone came into my house, they'd be like, "Why is your house so small?" It's because that's what I value.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't like yelling upstairs at my kids.
Yeah, I want them in the same room as me. Yeah, that's right.
Studio,
that's why.
Studio apartment.
I have a small house, so my kids are raised right.
Yeah.
It does help when you have a gym downstairs and you're across the street from you.
Yeah.
And when you have a studio office in the building, and
yeah.
What do you think I should put right here on the wall? So I have a full body tar that I might put there, and a full body mountain goat here, but I feel like it might take up too much room in this space. Maybe it doesn't belong in here. But I mean, what do you think? Is there a way?
I honestly would love to see the tar and goat together.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. Dude, you're talking to a guy that has 5 400-inch bulls in his house. 3 of them are in the basement.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, taxidermy is expensive, but I probably won't. I won't ever do a goat and tar again. Mm-hmm. I might hunt them again if things work out. Who knows? But the mounts, I kind of would like to. They're my first ones, and they mean something to me. But
taxidermy is a weird thing.
It is a weird thing, isn't it?
But it's just one of those things. Like, it's like the Grip and Grim photos. Yeah, they don't give us a good light. They just don't. I mean, it's just like a mullet. It's just dude. However, it is very important for me to look back on those moments of success. It is very,
yeah.
I've thought a lot about, Ben O'Brien has that big thing against Grip and Grins, and we've got to fix our image, and he's right. It's really important to think about that stuff. However, I look at the Grip and Grins no, my favorite pictures are me and my grandpa 30 years ago with the spiked bull, Grip and Grin. And
did you see the picture on Ben O'Brien's page, by the way?
His top 9?
No.
Oh.
I don't know if he has that or not.
Oh, that was pretty freaking funny.
Come on. I'm looking it up on Instagram. He has a picture of him with his dad on a Grip and Grin right here. Right here. Look at Ben back there in the orange.
Yeah.
Look at that kid.
Yeah. No, I'm telling
you. Look, that's like blue steel right there.
Those are my favorite pictures.
Ben's posturing up. Here I am. It's a great photo with him and his dad. But in this post, he's I
didn't see it. I wish I would have.
Oh, it's just a discussion he threw up rather, just talked about how, he's talked about Grip and Grin a number of times. And he's not sure what the right answer is.
Oh, I know he doesn't. And I'm not
you would have thought him and I killed babies when I did a podcast and we talked about it.
Oh, really?
I mean, the hate that I've received on the Grip and Grin.
It probably came from me.
And, well, you didn't help for sure. And I remember texting you going, what the hell, Ryan?
No, these are my favorite photos.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's unreal.
No, and it's you and I get it.
Right.
I get it. A non-hunter looks at that and is probably confused.
Disgusting. There's a rib cage.
What the hell's wrong with you?
There's a decapitated elk. There's 3 dudes with a rifle. It's disturbing. And look at those 1970s flatties.
Oh yeah, that's gas station hats.
Yeah, I love it.
I feel like on that Grip and Grin thing, it really does confuse people.
Mm-hmm.
But in that whole statement, John Barklow.
Oh my gosh, dude. That's his only post on Instagram is the cat.
Well,
and he pulled the last one.
So for folks listening, my buddy John Barklow, who works at Sitka, our buddy.
I love John.
He is a funny dude. He's sort of anti-social media.
He is.
yet he participates.
Oh, he likes every one of my pictures.
Yeah.
Every single one.
And here he is. He only has one photo on Instagram at any time. One.
Yep. He deletes
and then he deletes it and he puts a new one up. And the cat photos disturb me.
What's the hashtags?
It just says cat. Ending strong. New Year's Eve. Ending today, strong.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Cats of Instagram. Meow.
Yeah.
His last one said meow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He is, and that Christmas sweater is, wow. You had to plan that.
Oh, for sure.
You had to plan that.
For sure. Put a lot of work in that one.
I love John Barklow.
Oh, for sure.
But, on the Grip and Grin thing, I just feel like, I've said this before. Never once did I say we need to get rid of Grip and Grins.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation. I said, let me see this. I said, there's a dilemma. And we should look into, like, I don't know how to handle it.
Yeah. I don't either.
And then the next week, I posted Grip and Grin photos. And then it was like,
it's a hard thing.
You're the guy that hates on him and blah, 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 and trash Grip and Grin. And then the first thing you do, is share a photo of Grip and Grin. I'm like, dude, did you hear the podcast?
That's not what I said.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
So Ben came out and said,
oh, I know he did.
He thought we should get rid of him.
Yeah.
And he said he's going to get rid of him.
And my whole thing is, and he did. I don't think he's posted that picture. Kind of shocks me. I don't think he's posted any for the last year and a half. However,
yeah,
he posts a lot of like somber pictures, and
which
it's fine.
Which he wrote a thing about, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't think that's the right photo either."
I don't either. I look at that as it kind of makes me cringe a little bit, and I don't know why. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like the mullet. I love to have them, but man, they look bad. Same with the beard, probably.
Oh yeah, here's a collection of Grip and Grin of Ben.
Yeah,
right, and this is the post that he was talking about.
Yeah,
and again, I'm like the ones where you're somber. It's just not a real emotion I'm feeling.
Well, I think it's a real emotion. I feel it. I do. I'm not that guy who. I don't know. I guess I've had my moments of jumping up and down.
I've done both. That's what I mean, though. But I'm certainly at that moment in general, most of the time.
How do you portray months and months of preparation and hard work and endless hours and money?
$17,000 in game cameras,
right? Like, how do you not
your
grin?
Expensive bow and your Sitka gear?
How do you not grin? I don't like. I had one guy last year. I did a post for Crispy, Love Kindle.
Yep,
I'll support that company as long as they make the quality they do. Another favorite gear, right?
Yeah.
I did a post switching up from these ones to these ones. Got 780 miles on this one. Already done 200 in this one. Excited to see how far they go. Some kid gets on like, you're trying to tell me you walked to LA and back in a pair of boots, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I did. I do. I work hard.
How many miles did you say?
That pair of boots, I was 700 and something.
Yeah.
And it was 1 year. 1 year.
I put 2,000.
I don't even think I made it a year.
I put 2,000 miles on my first pair of Crispy boots, Nevadas.
Oh, really?
No question.
See, and my summits, I think my Thors, I made 860 something, and my summits, I'm 700 and something. They're about done. I don't think I could do much further.
I went way too many on mine, but I was just trying to
see how they do.
Yep.
Well, I'm like, yes, I did. I work hard.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. Like
Aaron and I hiked 5 miles a day. Like
dude,
2.5, 3 miles there, and 2.5, 3 miles down. But this is just in the off season,
right?
From January through August.
Just preseason.
That's
workout.
just Aaron's sick, demented fitness plan.
Yeah. Or he was always complaining you were late, Mormon Standard Time.
Right. If you do 30 to 50 miles a week, you're gonna hit 700 miles in no time.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit 1,000 in no time. And then you add the hunting on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you used it for just the hunting season, you're gonna get that.
Oh yeah.
Especially the way you're doing it.
Uh-huh. And I don't think people get that. And that's why good gear is important. That's why I tell you, don't buy your boots at Walmart ever.
Yeah.
Like if there's anything you do, protect your feet, because that's the first thing to go out for me.
Yeah.
Whether they're too hot or too cold or too wet, that's when I want to go home.
Well, and that's where I think that what you should do is when you kill that big bull, you need to take your boots off and put them right in front of the bull, so you can show people how much.
Product placement. How much did you get paid for that picture?
No, it's funny though, because it's undeniable. There's a lot of pressure. A lot of people want to be sponsored, want to be recognized by a company. And so they're going to take their Kifaru pack and stack it right in front of the bull. They're going to take their Hoyt bow or whatever and lay it down.
They paid for. Absolutely.
And in general, if it really gets ugly though, when it's a product placement so you can be paid and it's transparent. The problem is there's just so much of it, Ryan. I think that people they just assume now.
See, and I don't think there is that. I don't see it like you do, I guess. I don't get checks. And so like I look at it like, a lot of guys say they're sponsored and say they're pro staff, but they're getting their 20 or 40% off. Mm-hmm. I'm that guy.
Right.
I don't see the sponsorships. And so that's why, like I have companies hit me up like, hey, we're going to send you this for a couple posts. I'm like, I don't post for people that, hell no.
Well, I think there's very few people that are actually paid by companies.
No, that's what I think.
But I think that there's a ton of people wanting to
think that everyone does,
and think that if they do this way, then they'll, be paid. And I don't know. I look at it like for example, when I posted about the Garmin, I had a bunch of guys just say, the only way that you would ever recommend a Garmin is if you were bought and paid for to do it. If they paid you money to say that.
I had some guys DM me about that. I was like, no.
I paid for it. I am not doing it because I'm paid. This is, I actually like it. Uh-huh. Right. And so I think it's okay for people to question my motives. Am I doing XYZ because I'm being paid to do it, or am I doing it because I truly mean it? At the end of the day, I can't convince someone of my integrity or my motives. Uh-huh. They're just going to guess.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people who guess wrongly that my motives are driven by being paid for.
Yeah.
And the rumors abound. Like, I think one guy got on there and said, you say you're not paid by Garmin, but isn't Mountain Ops paid by Garmin? And then you're paid by Mountain Ops? And doesn't Mountain Ops own you? I'm like, no, they're my partner. Sika's my partner. Leupold's my partner. They're my partner. And
you're not pro staff? Okay.
And we work together. Garmin doesn't pay Mountain Ops anything.
I was just going to say, what would they need Garmin for?
And so, but people still want there to be some motive they want to assign some, dirty motive to why you do what you do.
Why you're able to do what you do. Yeah.
And it's just going to happen. But at the end of the day, I feel like, I still will be me. You know me, I'll tell people I like it even though I know it's not going to be popular. Yeah. And I'll say that about across the board. I'll say it about conservation topics. I'll say it about money, how you spend it. I'll say it about my gear I buy. Like, it may not be popular, but I'm still going to tell you what I think.
Oh, dude.
It could be about religion.
When I go from posting elk pictures, because that's my demographic, right? To a whitetail picture, I drop 800 likes. I don't care. I freaking love it.
I pasted the Garmin thing. I take a dip in number of followers. They just bail. Yeah. Not following this jack wagon. Boom, 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 boom. I don't care.
Yeah.
I can't care. I have to be true to me and what I like and what I think. And so I do it. And I'll say this, I said this a million times, like, if you think I'm doing Gritty Bowman, or if you think I'm here to be liked by you or to be liked in general, no, It's not my objective. My objective is not to be liked. And they're like, but you have to be or you wouldn't get paid. No. I am not here to be liked. I'm here to do what I think is meaningful and valuable.
Yeah.
I'm here to deliver value. I'm not here to be liked. So if you come along and you don't like what I've done, that's your prerogative.
Yeah.
Walk away. But I'm not. People who come on in Instagram or social media or Facebook or email and they're like, "You better stop what you're doing, Brian Call. You better stop what you're doing because if you don't, I'm going to quit following you and so will all my friends." I'm like, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Okay. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm not here to be liked by you. I'm here to do what I think is valuable and meaningful.
Yeah.
And we may not agree on that.
Right.
And the other thing too is, why can't we agree to disagree on certain subjects
And still be friends.
and still be friends?
Yeah. Oh. I agree completely. Like, you're not taking away anyone's freedoms, even if you were posting advertisement. You know, there's a couple of guys on Instagram. That's what they do. It's all ads. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Like, I still like the dude.
Yeah.
I don't like his posts.
Right.
But, whatever.
Well, and I expect people to stop following if the channel doesn't fulfill them.
Uh-huh.
If they're if it's not making a difference for them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's an interesting.
No, it's high school popularity, right?
Can be.
It can be. It's all fun. But when, I just look at it like, I love elk. And I love the reason I do, this podcast. You're not paying me.
No.
But I like sitting down. I think when you sit down with someone and talk, whether it's your wife, your best friend, you gain relationships and you gain insightful, alternative views on things. I think it's important. And I think it's important to share those things with people. I can't tell you those podcasts we did before. Mm-hmm. We talked about the bulls and we talked about kind of how I hunt and why it's so much different. I can't tell you how many DMs I got. Thousands on, what do you think if you do it this way? Does this work on public land? What should I look for here? I couldn't even answer them all. It was unreal. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Sometimes I just tell them, I don't know. This is what I do here. And if I was in your position, I might try this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. They're animals. We just do this for fun. So yeah, try this. Maybe it'll work.
Yeah.
I'm not all knowing, but I like that. This is fun.
I think these conversations we often lack in today's society, in today's world, unless you deliberately tune into, who sits down for a few hours and has a long conversation?
Unless you're on a road trip or stuck in a rainstorm on a hunting camp.
Yeah.
When do you do this? You just don't. And they're important.
And I feel this kind of long conversation, you're kind of able to hash out some ideas and things that you wouldn't normally cover. And it meanders and it goes places and it bounces back and it seems kind of hectic, but you never know what might come out in a conversation. But this is all it is. It's just you and I talking, and people who follow Gritty, they're sort of a fly on the wall for this conversation that maybe they wouldn't be a part of otherwise, but they're a part of with their own buddies, right? But you're right. Certain ideas flow out of it that might change a person's worldview. I know I've been changed by things I've heard by Joe Rogan, things I've heard by, by Ranella. You name it. I have a whole ton of podcasts. Jocko.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, what these conversations do for other people, and they do it for me, is I gain my whole balance of ethics and values. I do. I hear why people feel this way about something, and it'll change my whole perspective on. Yeah, I see why you don't want me to kill that animal, but do you also see why it's important to kill him this way? It's your whole thing that you said multiple times. Think the whole thought process through before you make any rash judgments. It's really important to whatever perspective it is on your life. Whether I'm dealing with my teenage daughters and who they're dating, or I mean, anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversations are important. And I worked nights a lot of years. The company I run, probably 60% of my employees work night shift. A lot of service-based type stuff. I mean, I'm sure people see my posts of me plowing snow or doing stuff because I'm hands-on in a lot of that stuff. Dude, the things I learned was a lot of talk shows. Like, I'm telling you, I have a really strong stance on hunting, and anybody who comes to me with an open mind, I can talk to you about where it's at and why it is, and very rare do I end up on the bottom hand of that.
Yeah.
Like, I know why I do what I do. I know why trophy hunting's important. I know why meat hunting's important. I understand why long range is important. I get it all. Every piece of it. And I'm really solid in my stance, but that's not because I've learned each little lesson on my own. I've learned it from listening to other people's insightful experience.
Yeah.
And I get to hear that, and I think it's really important for people. I think that's why podcasts are so great. I tell people all the time, like, sit down, listen to other people discuss why these things are okay.
And I have my ideas, right? Like, we've hashed out the technology thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And one of the ways to find out if your ideas have merit, to voice them, put them out in the public arena. You know, as an extreme example, well, I think we should segregate between, women and men in restaurants or something. You throw that idea out, you're going to get feedback.
Oh, yeah.
And you might be like, you know what? Yeah, what I thought, that wasn't such a good idea.
Uh-huh.
Right? When you put yourself out there and you share your ideas with free speech, that gives people, society, people around you, a chance to sort of give you a response to those ideas, and you to continue to forward and you change.
Uh-huh.
Your ideas change over time. I think it's really important to voice those ideas because that's how you see if they work, and you learn from them. And it's not to say that everything you do is swayed by public opinion. There's it's just one more form of
accountability,
seeing all sides.
I think it gives you a form of accountability.
Yeah.
And it's really important. I think when you do set a goal, here we are going into the new year, all these people are going to do these goals. I'm going to go to the gym. You're not going to go to the gym unless you tell people you're going to the gym. And I don't want to see you posting on Instagram every day. I'll unfollow you so fast. It's ridiculous. But there is something to be said when you see 3 months down the road, this guy that was 240 pounds down to 180.
Yeah.
That is inspiring.
Yeah.
And I love seeing that, and I love goals. And I think when you do put in that accountability for where your stance is or what you're doing, there's merit given to you, and there's growth made from more arenas than just you. That's why these platforms are there, and that's why they're somewhat important. Other people can grow. In my 41 years, I'm telling you, I haven't done enough cool stuff to know a lot of things.
Yeah. But
I can listen to other people's stuff and absorb pertinent stuff. Anything that sticks that I can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden I grew a little bit. And I didn't have to go through the experience.
Yeah.
I think it's important. So I like that. I like when people share stuff they like on Instagram. Maybe I should have more balls to do it. But I don't want people thinking like, oh, you're paid by Canvas Cutter. No, I'm not. I just like them.
Yeah.
They're just freaking cool.
It was free. Yeah, it's so funny. No, but I agree. Like, people should question your motives. I don't begrudge someone who does that. I just think sometimes there's an awful large crowd of people that automatically jump to your motives being really messed up.
Uh-huh.
And I think most people have good intentions and are good people.
Right. No, I don't blame the guys that get their stuff for free.
No.
Like, good on them. Like, whatever. You marketed yourself. You did you. It's fine.
Yeah.
However, I'm not that guy.
Yeah. The problem, Ryan, is you run into is, and this is, I believe, the public justified in this. It's like, you use a product simply because you're paid, and if it were up to you, you would never recommend XYZ item. You would totally use this. But now you're paid, so you're going to use this. It's like, at that point, I feel like you're that's why I try to work with the companies that I would use whether I'm paid or not. Not everybody has that luxury. Yeah. Like I get to use Sitka gear.
Yeah. I don't have that luxury.
Right. So for me, sorry about that. So for me, it's like, there's no conflict for me. I get paid, and I promote what I like anyway.
Yeah.
It's where, what if Cabela's came to me and said, hey, we want you to rep this and we'll pay you, 3 times what Sitka pays you. It's like, then I would be promoting something that's workable, but isn't what I would wear, what I would choose. And the only way like something like that would work for me is if I was like, for the money, this is okay, but I'd still buy Sitka if I had the money. Then you're maintaining integrity, right? But that's just not what happens.
No.
That's why I'm like, when I chose to work with the companies I did, I had to make sure those are companies that I would run and work with all on my own. Anyway.
Well, you put in the work for that. You were able to make those decisions because.
And I'm not hating on anybody, by the way, who runs something else other than Sitka, for example.
No.
But that's where I am just, for example, Leupold. I love Leupold. I love what they stand for. I love, if you were to take a Leupold spotting scope and you put it next to your $6,000 Swarovski spotting scope, they're not the same. But Leupold is American made. They have the same values that I do. They fight for conservation in a way that those people at Swarovski don't.
Nope.
I don't want to put my time and money into building a company that, when the anti-hunters come around, sides with the other side.
Yep.
And so I wanted to find a company that stood for my values that's going to work at competing with something like all of the European or un-American, or not un-American, just not American, non-American companies. And that's where, for me, it's like my reasons for working with companies are deep. And there's meaning there for me. And I try to maintain that high level of integrity. That's why I get upset. I guess I'm a little sensitive when someone accuses me of doing something just because
thicken your skin a little bit, man.
Yeah, I work on it. I mean, it's just part of the nature of doing it, but
right. Well, because it's something you believe in, it's a personal attack. It always is. I get it, but it's hard. People are hard, and I don't know. It's not. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like we're here to just be a part of what we do, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It's been an adventure for me.
Oh, for sure.
These years.
Think about where you've gone the last 5 years.
Oh, it's crazy, dude. Yeah. I've seen some places, met some people. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think it's awesome.
Super grateful.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, you feel blessed about it or you don't. When you don't, it slips away.
Yeah.
And so it's all good. And people brought up like shed hunting. And then I made this post like, dude, I'm not doing a podcast on shed hunting. And I got like 4 or 5 angry DMs like, what's wrong with you? It's not what I want to be known for. I love shed hunting. It's great. It's something to do in the springtime. You get out, you kick up a few sheds, and people get mad when I say this, but one doesn't run off when you find the other side. You don't have to get the wind right. You don't have to pattern them. I tell people, and maybe this answers a few questions, like watch the elk all winter. You want to get into shed hunting, watch the elk. And just know that wherever they're at, between February 20th and March 20th, they're going to go up 1,200 feet in elevation. 1,200 feet. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's 2 ridges and 1,200 feet. But just know, like, okay, February 20th, they're right here. Some of them shed March 4th. Some of them shed May 5th. But the bigger bulls, you're going to find fairly close, 1,000 feet up from where they just were. Mm. And so it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
And I love it. I absolutely love it because it's fun, and I just love elk, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing better to me than kicking up a couple big sheds. However, I don't want to be known as a shed guy.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. That's some guys' life. They love it. And I get it. I love it too. I get excited. But I kill big bulls and get them on camera, and that's my real passion.
Yeah.
Is chasing the bigger age class bulls and doing what I do in September versus March. So that's
that answers that question.
Yeah, I don't want to offend people. However,
shed hunting is weak.
No, not at all.
No,
it's super fun. And that's the thing. Shed hunting is all about miles.
Yeah,
that's how you are successful shed hunting. Is miles. If you can do 20 miles in a day on a south face, eventually you're going to kick one up. Once you kick one up, you're going to find 5 more fairly close if they haven't been disturbed.
Yeah,
and so.
I've never
miles. You're fine.
I've never shed hunted.
It's hard work.
We found this shed on the Oregon coast, or actually California coast.
Yeah,
went down to do a podcast with South Cox, and off the highway, there was a big herd of Roosevelt elk, and there's a bull with one horn, and we were like, he's going to drop that thing any minute. And then we left, and 4 hours later, we drove back through, and they were gone. And we started looking around in the field where they were, and it was sitting right there.
That's cool.
So I guess I shed hunted once.
South's not on social media.
South is Stalker Stick Bows on social media.
Oh.
But he doesn't, he posts a lot of his woodwork.
Cause he does bows. He makes trad bows, right? South is the man for California blacktail.
South is the man for mule deer.
I read all his books way back in the day.
Yeah, he's still real active. I mean, South crushes. You do need to follow him. Stalker Stick Bows.
Because he's freaking amazing.
I need to get him back on the podcast.
Yeah. No, the guy's a legend. He is a legend.
We just met each other at that Donnie Vincent movie premiere, The Other Side.
Yeah.
South was there, and we got to visit a little bit. But, yeah, right there. Stalker Stick Bows.
Huh.
So
no, I just followed him.
He is still, slaying mule deer every year in the high country and just doing some awesome stuff.
Huh.
Anyway, we should wrap up. Yep. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I have a lot of respect for you, Ryan.
Thanks, man.
Just as a person and as a hunter.
It's New Year's.
It's New Year's. It's time to get out and celebrate the holiday.
Yeah.
But again, dude, I really appreciate it.
You bet, dude.
We need to revisit again in about 30 days.
Yeah. Let's do it. I'm always down. Always down.
This next time I'll ask my audience what they want to hear from you.
Yeah. Get a bunch of angry stuff.
So, all right, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the Gritty Podcast, and stay gritty, folks.
Thanks, Brian.